Hello and welcome to Battle Report number 26. So, you remember how last game I said that there were 4 steam tanks at this event and there were 60 plus players? And only 4 Empire players, I should say. Round 3, that's another Empire player. And does that mean another steam tank? You bet it does. So, at the very least, I think I took solace in the fact that I'd be able to try and have another go at the steam tank and see if we can do slightly better than last time. So let's go. I think it's fair to say that I drew another Empire player, saw that there was another steam tank, and then was a bit put out, I guess. I mean, because there's so many, I could have been playing so many other things. But you know, as I said, at the very least, I got to have another go, see if it was just bad luck of the other game, and I can learn from my mistakes from the previous game and see if we can have a slightly better go at it this time. So let's take a look at the lists. So my list will be in the comments below, or it'll be in the previous 2 battle reports. So give it a pause and have a look if you haven't seen it already. And my opponent's list. So he has got a slightly more expensive general this time. He's a knight commander on a horse with shield. Cavalry pick enchanted with Titanic Might to give him strength 7, AP 3. A winter cloak for distracting. A 2-up flaming Aegis, and a 5+ Aegis full stop. And then an Obsidian rock for MR2. An entirely naked marshal in his pants with a battle standard bearer. A wizard who's a wizard master of cosmology with a magical heirloom. He's got a prelate on a horse with paired weapons enchanted with Hero's Heart, plate armor with Basalt Infusion, another Locket of Sana, and a Lucky Charm. And then another one of those pesky Inquisitors again, sitting on a horse with light troops, Dusk-Forged Shield, hand weapon enchanted with Hammer of Witches, and Blessed Steel. And then in core, a unit of 19 light infantry with crossbows and musician, 12 electoral cavalry with shields, upgraded to knightly orders with lances, full command and a household standard, 5 electoral cav with shields, lances, and a musician, 21 heavy infantry with a musician, 2 lots of 9 reiters with repeater guns and heavy armor, and 8 Imperial Rangers, 2 lots of artillery, those are mortars, and of course the notorious steam tank. So I could almost swap this list out for the previous one, couldn't I? There's more repeater guns in this one, which is really bad for me. Strength 4, AP2, as I've said before. It's not nice for Kingdom of Equitaine because it puts you down to a 4+, 6+, which is, you know, not good enough for keeping your very expensive models alive. Electoral cav with lances, so better in the long run, but don't let him charge me again. And then only 1 Inquisitor to deal with this time, so slightly better for my characters to go into that unit. Only slightly. So we were playing for this game Counter Thrust, and the secondary objective was Hold the Ground, so you can see that marker in the centre there. I deployed some yeomen on the right hand side to push him back, and then he stuck all of his shooting on the left hand side, those mortars and the crossbows on the hill, the repeater guns out on the left, and the big block of cavalry with the characters sitting very centrally. And the steam tank out on this side, which I was surprised by, I think. But then, you know, if I don't manage to deal with it, or if I get stuck on it, then that's very bad news, because then I get hit in the flank with the cavalry bus. So you can see my opponent moving his vanguard with the repeater guns. They're up left. My deployment's fairly self-explanatory, but I've got yeomen on the left. Yeomen on the left here. 6 Knights of the Realm. My last charge bus with my Druidess. My Grail Knights with my BSB and Shamanism Monk. Yeoman stretched across the front to push back his deployment. My Hippogriff sitting behind a wall. 2 Scorpions and the 6 Knights of the Realm. On his flank, the electoral cav, repeater guns, crossbows with his BSB and wizard, mortars, more repeater guns, the support infantry units, the cav bus and all its characters, the Imperial Rangers, and the steam tank. So I believe he took turn 1. Yep, there we go. I'm not sure why I vanguarded out there with my Yeoman Outriders. They're just going to get blown apart immediately. There's a better look at the left-hand side. So the steam tank comes up very, very close. I think it didn't use its full steam ahead, but of course it's got random movement, and the only really useful direction it can go is towards me, so it does so. The cavalry shifts forward a little bit, but very wary of giving me 6/6 charges against him. So there we go. At the end of turn 1 there, this is now my turn 1, but at the end of turn 1 he's of course blown apart those poor yeomen, and the units, the Knights of the Realm on the left there have taken 2 casualties, so and then I've taken a couple on the last charge realms here. So on my turn I make sure to use the cover from his shooting. I move into the forest with this unit, and I get charges with the Hippogriff and the Grail Knights and my BSB into the steam tank. So we go in there. In magic, I get Rod of Battle and not an awful lot else off, I think. So I'm hitting on 2s and then wounding on 4s with my Grail Knights and BSB. The Hippogriff is wounding on 5s, but he needs 6s to be useful anyway with his Renown. And then between all the attacks, I think both wounds that the BSB did, because the BSB can wipe him out, by himself. Both wounds that the BSB did were saved on 4+ armor, and then between the rest of the Grails and a couple of wounds from the Hippogriff, I managed to bring the steam tank down to 1 wound remaining, which is nice. So that's a very, very good start for me considering last game. In Empire turn 2, he shuffles again very, very cautiously with the... Oh, there we go. So he's moved off to the left with his repeater guns. He's basically wanting to deal with those realm lights before he moves off towards the centre. And if I can roll well enough on my saves and I stick in the cover, then I should be okay for a little while. The cav bus comes around the corner to sit within 6 of the objective, ready to score at the end of this turn, so I need to do something about that, or otherwise he's going to start scoring the objective and we're going to be fighting an even more uphill battle than I might be anyway against all that shooting. In combat, between I needed the BSB to use his Potion of Strength in the end. All the rest of the Hippogriff, the Duke, all the King's men and all the King's horses couldn't do it, so I had to bring out the Potion of Strength on the BSB and do the crush attack. Thankfully I get 2s to hit with the Rod of Battle still up, with a reroll from Audacity because it doesn't count as an attack attribute, and then I wounded it, and then I did the 1 wound that I needed to do. Killed it, and thankfully outside on his turn. So my turn 2, I get to charge both the Hippogriff and the Grail Knights into the Knight bus. I also went for a charge with my last charge banner, which was daft because it was an 11-inch charge, maybe a 10-inch charge. I think 10 inches. So long, but not outside the realms of possibility. But I would have been much better just shifting up, 6 inches and stay within 12 of both the Hippogriff and the Grail Knights, so that all of my Druidism spells are in range. Because there isn't any useful terrain there within range, which I can put my Druidism buffs on. So they're basically going in without magic support, which is brave. I move the Realm Knights down off of the hill. They want to be within 6, so I can start scoring the objective. It's going to be a draw this turn, but from turn 3 onwards, I need to... that was the other reason I needed to move the Realm Knights up. If they're sitting closer to the Grail Knights, then I can score the objective on this turn, which would have been great. But I just didn't, because... So in combat, I'm very concerned about his multiple wounds D3 lethal strike Inquisitor with 5 attacks. So my BSB and 2 Grail Knights, 2 or maybe more Grail Knights, put all of their attacks into the Inquisitor to try and kill him, and I leave him on 1 wound. So the Inquisitor promptly murders my poor BSB, takes off a load of points, a little bit of my combat res. And the Hippogriff is stuck in a duel with the Locket of Sunner Prelate. I looked at the well, I think this was basically a mistake, right? So he issued a duel with the Prelate, and I thought, oh, excellent, that's fantastic for Tristan's resolve. I can run in, hit him with something, and then break his magic weapon, and then he's going to be strength 4 AP1 against me with paired weapons, and he's not going to be able to damn it. He's not going to be able to hurt me very well, which would be great. And it also stops his general from attacking because the general is only in contact with the Hippogriff. Yeah, so I thought that was great, but in hindsight, I would have been much better off putting all of the Duke's attacks into the general and accepting the duel, the Prelate's duel with my BSB, because that saves him from the Inquisitor. The Inquisitor can still attack my Grail Knights, but I'm fine with him killing Grail Knights if it saves my BSB from him. And then the Duke, hits the general with Titanic Might, breaks the weapon enchantment, and then he's still AP 3, but he's now only strength 4 against me, which would have been much more preferable to being stuck in a duel with a guy who's stolen all of my attacks. So that takes us to Empire turn 3 or 4. There's a slightly closer look there at what's going on in there. So my BSB's gone, a couple of Grail Knights have gone, but yeah, and on the charge as well, especially because I'm not going to be able to grind through a 1-up armor save. I should have put all the Grail Knights and all the attacks that I possibly could have done into the rank and file to break his Steadfast. If I'd done that, then I might have broken the unit and I wouldn't have to worry too much about character duels anyway. So a couple of mistakes from me, just because I got excited to use Tristan's Resolve to break something. So yes, Empire turn 3. My turn, I must have missed it. The Green Knight has been dropped, and he's moved out around the house to look out towards all of his backline. If I can get through to his shooting, then I can start killing some stuff and knocking out his support and his magic. The Yeomen go round to support him because they're perfectly capable of killing Empire, infantry. The Realm Knights have moved up to sit near the objective. And then in the Empire shooting, he's taken off almost half of the Knights of the Realm bus with my Druidism Damsel. The mortars just keep hitting me, and they're not high enough strength to activate my 5+ Aegis, and they're just taking off guys quicker than I can regrow them. He's also put a Perception of Strength on my Hippogriff, so even the Hippogriff is only striking at strength 4 AP2, which is not enough to get through the 1-up armor save of that Prelate. Yeah, 1-up save of the Prelate, so only AP2, so he's making his saves. The Realm Knights hiding in the forests off the left there have been shot off by the repeater guns, so he's free to now push forward with all of those and start taking off guys from my backline as well. In combat, I think it was a draw, so we go through to my turn. This is after my magic. Oh no, so okay, this previous photo is my turn. That's after my movement, so I've moved the Green Knight out. And then in my magic, I regrow 3 guys in the last charge bus. We fight combat again, and I break. So I haven't got, they're striking at the same strength and AP, but they've got a lot more characters, and the characters have a lot more punch than my rank and file, and the Hippogriff does, especially while he's being affected by Perception of Strength. So they both break, but both of them manage to get away. And then in the Empire turn, he charges them both again, and then catches the Grail Knights. In shooting and magic, his Wizard Master casts Quicksilver Lash that he got from Magical Heirloom, and one-shots the Green Knight, which was sad. Of course, he only gets a 5+ Aegis against it, and he rolled the 4 hits and wounded 4 times, and then I just didn't roll enough 5s, so I needed to roll 2 of them to keep him alive, and I didn't. In my turn, my Hippogriff fails to rally, and he flees off the board. I chaff up the Cav bus as best I can with the Yeoman there. There's another shot of what's coming to deal with what's left of my army now that my Hippogriff, my BSB, and my General have gone, and my Grail Knights. The Cav bus charge into the Yeoman, kill the Yeoman, and in shooting, he kills enough of me to cause a panic check on the... Oh, it's that mortar up at the top, that's where that's come from. So that mortar up at the top there, after the other one hit and killed a few of them, that second one fired, hit, killed another couple of them, caused a panic check, and I don't have a General and BSB anymore, so it's just just a Discipline 8 check, and Last Charge bust, and my Damsel flee off the board. So I now have left 2 Scorpions and 6 Realm Knights. And I've killed so far, if you've been keeping track, just the Steam Tank. So it's not gone at all better than last game. So I can see how many points I've lost here. I can see how many points my opponent has got. We go for a Valorous Last Charge down off of the hill into the Empire Knights. Again, if I can kill enough of them, then I can get half points or maybe full points on the cavalry, and a couple of the characters are down to 1 or 2 wounds each between my Hippogriff and my Grails, beating away at them for a couple of rounds. But I don't succeed, and I lose 3 Realm Knights to it. I think this is Empire turn 5 or 6 now. He charges into the Scorpion with the repeater guns. I think I survive here for the moment. He does a couple of wounds here, breaks me, and I die. Oh, and that's the end. Okay. So, yeah. I think I hold on to half points on those Realm Knights in the centre, but that's all I hold on to. So I've got half Knights for the Realm Knight, half points for those Realm Knights, and 1 Scorpion in the corner, and then he's got the objective and the rest of the points. So, yeah, I was much more pleased with how this one went, I think, because I didn't just make one horrible glaring error that would have been very simple to fix, and it would go the other way entirely. It's still obviously frustrating to be 20'd a second time in the row, basically by an identical list. But there were things that I could have done differently, and that made it a lot more easier to stomach, I think, this time. You know, there were things that I could have changed, but it wasn't like tremendously massive things. So accepting the duel with my BSB and then hitting his general with my general instead. Moving up the Realm Knights in the centre rather to give magic support rather than trying to go for a long charge as well. Yeah, just little bits like that. Being potentially more cautious and respectful of his shooting and magic with the Green Knight. Deploying that second Scorpion slightly closer. I think it was out of range of most things for most of the game. But then I don't think they've killed more than maybe 3 Empire Knights for the whole tournament so far. And we're over halfway through now. So they're going to have to get their points back somehow, aren't they? But yes, very, very good game. Again, very frustrating to be 20'd again. But, you know, sometimes there's only a certain amount of things that you can do for it. And, you know, I can clearly see the mistakes that I've made, so I can't complain about dice or anything like that. So, yeah, that's the end of round 3. Come back tomorrow for round 4. One last thing before I left, because somebody asked about it and I wanted to show him off. Here's a photo of the model I used for my Hippogriff. Just a giant toad with a very large mustachioed man sitting on the back of him. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you next time.